you're doing yourself the biggest favor you've ever done for yourself, is to let these hard feelings that we hold in our hearts, those facades that we build up around our heart, let those crumble and fall away. Carrying around all that baggage is what we call it in modern parlance, is baggage. We get rid of the baggage and blossoms unfold from the heart. The vritti doesn't have to be monkey mind, because you can have one vritti in your mind. That's what we do in meditation. You take the physical object of meditation, a black dot, color a black dot on a piece of paper, and concentrate on it, focus on it. Your mind powers of concentration increase in one sitting. Do the same thing with an Om symbol, or do the same thing with a candle, right? So that's like the object of concentration. That's one vritti. And you can also have an idea as your vritti as well. Eventually, all these vishaya vrittis, all these different vrittis that come flooding through the mind, become brahmakara vritti, the one Brahman vritti, the absolute, pervades your mind. That's in the state of enlightenment. Okay? So then we have this, in the chitta, in your mind stuff, which is your reservoir of mental impressions, karmas, that's called chitta, and from that a vasana sprouts, which is a subtle desire. And that vasana gives rise to karmas, and the whole cycle repeats itself with the karmas.
Okay, so the vasanas are desires?
Vasanas are subtle desires, yep. And samskaras are the impressions in the chitta.
Yes, okay. Thank you, yes.
So you think about, like, when you're driving through sand, your tires make a groove. Every thought, every word, and every action has created a groove in the chitta.
Right. And the chitta is your mind. It's the mind.
It's one of the 19 parts of what is known as mind in yoga. Yeah, 19. No less than 19, 16, depending on your school of thought, but no less than 16 parts of your mind in yoga. But they are all in the chitta. All of those parts of the mind exist in chitta, produced from chitta.
Okay. So the word chitta means?
It literally means the stuff or elements of the mind.
Elements of the mind.
Stuff, chit is consciousness, right? Chit is pure consciousness. When pure consciousness is conditioned, it becomes chitta.
When it's conditioned, okay.
Because remember, you've heard of Brahman being described as Sat Chit Ananda.
Right, that's what I was going to ask. So Satchitananda would be?
Satchitananda is another name for Brahman, but if you take one of those aspects of Brahman, which is the pure consciousness aspect, you see Chit is the same root as Chitta. But what is the difference between pure consciousness, Chit, and conditioned consciousness, Chitta? Is conditioning, is ignorance.
Right.
Is the seeds of ignorance there in the chitta. So what we all have to do, all of us, we have to burn. You take the blowtorch of wisdom through satsanga, and you burn the ground of your chitta, so no more vasanas can sprout. And remember that Mother Nature goes and burns naturally, for fires happen naturally in nature. This creates fertile soil for the yogi or yogini to go in and plant the seed he or she wants to have in the mind.
Right. So meditation, let's say, would be like that tool to rise the ground.
The four aspects of your personality and the four yogas, they're never separate. So every yoga that you do, you're actually doing all of the four, but you don't know it. So it's the karma yoga, the selflessness that you'd act with in the world, that is burning the chitta, burning the vasanas. The prayers that you recite morning, throughout the day, and evening, the prayers that you do, burn the chitta. The meditation, the focusing of your mind that you do, allows you to focus on what is jnana, wisdom, knowledge, for you to burn the chitta.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, so that's where our most popular yoga chitta vritti nirodha, that is the most profound utterance in the entire Raja Yoga Sutras. For that reason, now you know that, what that means is because all those vrittis have to subside. And how do we make those vrittis subside? They're going to keep coming up because of the vasanas are there, right? And the samsaras are there. So we have no other choice to have the vrittis until we take the blowtorch of wisdom and we set fire to that ground of chitta.
Right.
Yes. Okay, so easily said, but we do it in day by day practice, right? Day by day, gradual effort. Best thing you can do is attend satsanga. It gives you the understanding to then change your behavior and change your actions and change your thoughts. When the jiva unites with Atma, does it still have karmas? Nope, those karmas are burnt away as well. That's what they call in the scriptures. The language the scriptures use is burned in the fire of wisdom. So all karmas based in the chitta, all the karmas are in your chitta, they get burnt away. We call it Maha Samadhi because you no longer take embodiment. Why? Because there's no more chitta to create sprouts. You burned everything. So that is the state of a fully enlightened master. Buddha said, I've tried so many of these samadhis. I've tried so many yogic practices, and actually, they didn't work. I got weaker. Buddha was walking through a river, and the river was 1 foot of water, and he fell in the river and he couldn't get up because he had made himself so weak because of those austerities. So he said, well, this surely has not worked. If I can't even get up from this river, I cannot even help a single person. I can't even help myself. How am I going to help the world? Right? So that's where he started to notice that this extreme path, extreme is no good either way on the spectrum. You want to be in the middle. So all of us are able to take so much in from one satsanga. But the next day you listen to the satsanga, you take different things from the satsanga. The following day, different things come different. Every single day with absolute truth, you have a different revelation of it. So with that being said, this is how it happened. So Buddha and sages always had scribes and assistants and what you would call a secretary with Buddha. And he has appointments. I'm using the modern terminology here. And Buddha and the sage, so people come and have appointments with the teacher. And the first person who came to have an appointment with Buddha, his scribe and his secretary are all there, assistants are all there, devotees, disciples are all there, and some spiritual aspirant comes to ask Buddha a question. And the spiritual aspirant has all kinds of doubts and problems and illusions he's dealing with. And Buddha says, this world is false. This world is an illusion. The only reality is absolute consciousness. Brahman, pure Satchitananda, the Atman, the Self. You alone are the truth. So the spiritual aspirant was very satisfied with this answer, and he goes. And the next comes. And he comes to Buddha with his problem. And he says, the mind is false. The mind is telling you yes and no, pain and pleasure, good and evil. You should resort to giving up attachment to mind. First person, he said, world is false. Second person, he said, mind is false. Third person comes. And he's asking for the truth, the highest truth. And the Buddha notices something. And he says, are you hungry? He says, yes. He goes, please bring this man some food. And the spiritual aspirant is like, but aren't you going to give me the highest truth? I came all this way for you. You're Buddha. I want the highest truth. He goes, right now, the highest truth for you is you're hungry. You need to eat. And the secretary of Buddha is sitting there like going crazy. He's just scratching his head and he's like, I can't believe what I've heard. Buddha gave 3 different teachings to 3 different aspirants. To this student was one truth, and one thing is false and one thing is true. This other student, one thing is false, one thing is true. Other one just gives food as the absolute truth. And the secretary was like, I'm sorry, you gave 3 different truths. Can you clarify this for me? And Buddha says, you have to give the same truth, but in different ways according to the level of the different spiritual seeker. So not the same teaching will apply to every single yoga aspirant. But where we can all find common ground is where you are right now. That no matter what level you are in your sadhana and your practice, the teaching is here for you. Om Mani Padme Hum.